Welcome to today's episode of Chronicles of a Nigerian Woman. My name is Fagbeja and I am your host. Today, I'll be reading Cassandra's story. I got married at the age of 22, right after I finished university, before I even went for my youth service. It was early, but I had been dating Stephen since I was in secondary school, and we were madly in love with each other. He was posted to my school as a teacher for his youth service, and we became friends then. I was in SS2 at the time. We liked each other, but we couldn't date because it would have been unethical. Once he completed his service year, however, we began a relationship. I was 17 and in SS3, and he was 24. He was the nicest human being you could imagine. He drove me to succeed on all fronts and to become the best version of myself possible. He was kind and caring, not just to me, but to everyone he came across. My mother brought up me and my two younger sisters alone because my father was abusive and had left to marry someone else when I was 10. She struggled to ensure that all of us got a good education and basic necessities. We were not rich, but we were close-knit and we were very happy. Stephen was like the son my mother never had. He took care of all of us as best as he could. Even before we got married, he would buy foodstuff and provision for my family, and he would follow up with my sister's schoolwork to ensure they were doing well. He would enter a place and the environment became better for it. He was like an angel in human form. I could not wait to become his wife, but he insisted that I be done with school first so that I would not be distracted. And with his support, I graduated with a second-class upper and was the best graduating student in my class. I got pregnant almost as soon as we got married. Stephen was teaching mathematics in a private school in Owerri, where we lived when we met. As can be imagined, he was loved by staff, students, and parents alike. He loved to teach and was passionate about building teenagers, so this was a dream job for him. He planned to set up his own school eventually. I had our son during my service year. Since I could not work anyway, we decided that it would be better to have our children at once so that I could get back into employment since I did not want to run a business. We planned to have 3 children. I got pregnant with our second child just before our son turned 1. We were so happy that things were going as planned. I was 4 months pregnant, and it was during the long vacation when the school where Stephen worked sent him to Lagos for a week-long training. He begged me to go with him, but the thought of taking the toddler was not enticing at all, so I convinced him to go alone. He was traveling by road, so we saw him off to the park and waited for him to leave before we came back home that Saturday morning. It was about 8:30 a.m. when we got back home. Around noon, I got a call from Stephen. I knew he could not have got to Lagos, so he must have been calling to update me about his journey and to check on us. When I picked the phone, it was not Stephen's voice I heard. The man on the phone was frantic and asked if this was the phone owner's wife. I answered in the affirmative, and he told me that there had been an accident somewhere before Benin. I remember screaming, and then I don't remember anything else. When I came round about 20 minutes later, some of our neighbors were with me in the house. They had heard me scream and rushed in to see what was going on. Because of Stephen's nature, we were friendly with everyone, and he asked them to look out for me as he would be away for a week. Amidst sobs, I told them what happened, and they called Stephen's brother Paul, who lived in Warri. He connected with the man who had Stephen's phone. One of the neighbors took me and my son to their house while they called my mother to come over. I was inconsolable all through the night. My mother took my phone away and did not leave my side throughout. The next morning, I wanted to travel to the hospital in Benin, where Stephen had been taken to, but I was not allowed to go. I insisted that I wanted to speak to Paul, and eventually my mother reluctantly called him. He sounded strong when he told me that Stephen had a fractured leg and was being taken care of, but was asleep. That calmed me down. For the next 2 days, however, I could not speak to Stephen, as each time I called, I was told he was resting or that the doctors were with him. I became suspicious, but everyone kept telling me to be calm. On the third day, when I saw Paul at our house, I knew the worst had happened. I started screaming as soon as I saw him, asking him what he was doing at our house without my husband. He didn't have to say anything. His face said it all. I almost lost my mind. How would I cope without Stephen? He was my lifeline in every way. I felt lost, like my soul had been ripped out and I had no direction. I was not even 25 yet, and I was a widow. My children would never have a chance to know their father. I had thought we would grow old together. Why did the best people die young? I wished we had gone with him that day, so that we would all have died together. I just could not imagine life without him. It's been 6 years. I don't know how I got through the first year. It's all a haze. Stephen's school was very supportive. The management, staff, and parents rallied around us financially and in kind. They gave our children a full scholarship for their primary and secondary education. A parent offered me a job in a bank after my daughter was born, which is where I now work. I don't think I will ever meet anyone like Stephen. Even in death, he takes care of me and the children. Every day, I tell our children about their father and the kind of person he was. My mother has tried to raise the issue of remarriage, but it is a closed topic to me. I don't even want to think about it. I still bear Stephen's name, and I am not sure I will ever change it. What words do you have for Cassandra? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Remember to hit the subscribe button and to turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any of my stories.